Welcome to the ISO Show, dispelling myths and sharing tips for success to improve your business with ISO standards, with your host, Mel Blackmore.
Hello and welcome to the ISO Show. Well, today's episode, you've just got me, I'm afraid, because I'm going to be talking about how to choose a certification body. And the reason I'm going to be talking about this is I've had quite a lot of experience over the years of dealing with different certification bodies. So I thought it'd be quite an interesting area just to kind of share some information about it and also to put forward any questions that you might want to ask your certification body when you're getting a quote and when you're looking at selecting who you're going to work with. Because at the end of the day, when you engage with a certification body, it's a 3-year relationship. So you want to make sure that you get it right. And also, if you're happy with that relationship, obviously that's going to be an ongoing relationship because your certificate's valid for 3 years. So hopefully you'll be certified for many years to come. So why choose certification in the first place? We all know that the standards have been published and you have actually got the option to self-certify. Not many businesses do, but I just wanted to put this out there that many of the standards do actually say that you have the option for certification with a third-party certification body, or you can self-certify. I personally wouldn't recommend self-certification because there just isn't that much credibility with you saying how wonderful you are. The whole value of having an independent third-party certification body is that they're completely impartial and they should also be accredited to be able to certify you. So they have to follow certain rules in order to be able to certify your business. So I've mentioned about Ucas in the past. Ucas is the United Kingdom Accreditation Service, and that's the one and only government body that accredits certification bodies in the UK. If you'd like to have a list of all the Ucas accredited certification bodies in the UK and globally, all you need to do is to go onto the Ucas website. So that's the United Kingdom Accreditation Service. I think it's really important to stress the value of your certificates being accredited by Ucas, because unfortunately there are some organisations out there that do not have the Ucas accreditation. So quite typically you might see white vans going along the motorway and they'll have a tick and a 9001. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10 they're not legitimate because they don't have the crown and the tick. That's how you know that it's a legitimate Ucas accredited certificate that's been issued by an approved certification body. Well, enough about that. The next stage is to actually source your certification body. So what I'd recommend is that when you look for a certification body, you might want to ask about their level of expertise in your particular sector. So you might be in construction, engineering, manufacturing, but you might have like niche sectors. And you might want to have an assessor that does have intimate knowledge of the type of work that your business does. So ideally, the assessor needs to be linked via a SIC code. So that's a code that's issued for different industries. Because at the end of the day, you want to have a good relationship with that assessor. You want them to know a little bit about your industry and the environments that you operate in. Another factor is geographical location. Is your assessor going to be travelling from another country to come and visit you in Slough, for example? Some certification bodies may actually do that because they're under-resourced in the UK. So it's important that if you've got a number of geographical locations as well, that you have got availability there to assess all of your sites. You also want to make sure that they can work within your timescales as well. Now, with all certification bodies, assessors will have limited resources, and it's important that you can then kind of marry up availability. I think you have to be realistic though. You can't phone up and say, we need an assessment next week, because chances are you won't get it. So you do need to allow at least 3 months for booking in a stage 1 or a stage 2. So ideally you're looking at about 6 months to be booking that in. So you want to make sure that your certification body has got assessors available for the standards that you want to be certified against, so that they have got that flexibility and they can meet your requirements. It's also good to make sure that they're responsive to your requirements, not just timescales, but do you get the quote back in time? Do you have some kind of flexibility within that as well? Because a lot of businesses think that when they receive a quote, that's it. But you can query it in terms of pricing, number of days, those sorts of things. Now, there are actually Ucas rules which dictate a minimum number of days, and that's based on the standards, the size of the organisation, number of sites, and also risk. So if you're a high-risk organisation, implementing standards such as environmental or health and safety, more days can be added. But there generally is some flexibility there. There is generally some room for negotiation. So it's definitely worthwhile asking. And also, whilst we're on the subject of pricing, I'd strongly recommend asking for a quote to cover the period of 3 years, because that's the period of your contractual relationship. Yes, you'll get a quote for the assessment, which is fine, but there are ongoing costs with a certification body, and that's generally called an annual surveillance audit. So each year you'll have a surveillance visit, and then at the end of that 3-year period, there is what is called a recertification audit. Now, some certification bodies will spend a similar amount of time to your initial assessment. Others might just have 1 day, and it's called a strategic review. They really do vary, so it's worthwhile getting that quote over a period of 3 years, so you've got everything there in black and white, nothing's hidden. Then you can also do a like-for-like comparison with a couple of other certification bodies, just to see that you've got all of the facts and figures in front of you. I think it's worthwhile mentioning about whether your certification body can also add further value to your business as well. So they might have events on or webinars that might be useful. Maybe not necessarily in relation to the standard that you're certified to. So you might be certified to 9001, but you might be interested in a webinar on asset management or health and safety. So I definitely recommend using your certification body for continual professional development, not necessarily just for yourself, but for your colleagues as well. Another factor is if you're looking at going for multiple certifications, so say for example, quality, environment and health and safety, ideally it would be better if you could just work with one assessor for all 3 standards. So they're multiple badged. This means that they're going to be assessing an integrated business management system, and so they're not sending in different assessors for different standards when actually it's just one system and there's a lot of commonality across the standards. So definitely worthwhile seeing if you can get a multiple badged assessor so you haven't got lots of different assessors coming into your business. And also I'd ask the question whether the assessors are going to be employed by the certification body or whether they're going to be subcontracted, because there can be a difference in the quality of service that you get in some cases. I'm not saying in all, I'm just saying in some cases. Sometimes we can come across fantastic subcontractor assessors and other times we don't, and that can be because they haven't necessarily had the same level of formal induction, training and management as they would if they were an employee. So I think that about wraps it up really for questions that you might want to ask your certification body and key considerations. One final thing I'd just like to mention is that at Blackmores we do offer a free service. It's an RFQ service for all of our prospective clients. That you don't have to be a client in order to get this service. It's free of charge, and basically what we would do is just take some basic details down from you, like employee numbers, number of sites, locations, key activities, standards you're interested in, and then we can submit that to 3 Ucas accredited certification bodies. Again, we're completely impartial and independent. We can't make any one recommendation, but we can submit that to some reputable certification bodies that we've had experience with, and then they can send those quotes and get in contact with you directly. It just helps to kind of save some of the hassle and gives you an introduction to some reputable